a male, a Muslim male, marrying a non-Ahlul Kitab woman is not allowed. So this is not allowed, okay? And all maraja say it's not allowed. Some maraja, not say Sistani, but some maraja say it's okay for a Muslim man to marry a Ahlul Kitab woman, like a Christian. Yeah? Some only maraja allow that. No one, as far as I know, allow a Muslim woman to marry a non-Muslim man. Okay? So all Muslim women have to marry a Muslim man. Okay. Now this is all for permanent. For temporary, so we don't want to talk about temporary. But the permanent these are the rulings. Now, when it comes to, is that clear? Does anyone have questions on that? Did I say this clearly? You're not clear? You're clear, okay. Now sushi marriages. Sushi marriages, no one out there, as far as I know, no maraja say it's not allowed. They all say it's allowed, okay? Now there is, what say Sistani says something is really interesting. He says, yes, if a woman, a Shi'i woman wants to marry a Sunni man, that's allowed. But it's not allowed if she is in a position that he will change her towards the other side. And he will be a haqid or a nasibi, so to speak. You understand? A nasibi is someone who has hatred towards the Ahlalbait and stuff like that. And there's a possibility that he will change her and influence her. Do you guys get that? And so, but other than that, sushi marriages is allowed. I've conducted some sushi marriages back at Dar al-Islam. And we can talk about sushi marriages, but that's...
No, it's good to say that it's allowed. And
it's allowed,
depends on the case. It can be successful, it can be not.
Yeah. I mean, well, look, let's be open here, yeah? Marriage in itself is complicated when you have both of you from the same madhab, okay? Both of you, say for example, both of you, Shia as followers of Ahlalbait. That's still complicated. What the problem, if you were to marry someone from a different madhab, that, for me, this is my opinion by the way, adds another layer of complication, right? Because later on you'll have the differences, of course, of salah, you have differences of majalis, you have the differences of fiqh, you have differences of things like that. So it will add another layer, especially for children, and it will confuse the children. And I say this with absolute bitterness, by the way, because what we've created, and we've been influenced by the big movements in the world, is that it's created that hatred between the Muslims. It's a very easy but very powerful technique called divide and conquer, okay? Where I will say to the Sunni, go and kill the Shia, and I will say the Shia, go and kill the Sunni, right? And I create hatred between them, and I've won because I've weakened Islam. Okay? Regardless of what we think about each other, we as the followers of Ahlalbait, we believe in the path of Ahlalbait, and we disagree with that path, but that doesn't mean I hate them. That doesn't mean I have hatred in my heart towards them. Neither I have hatred towards a Christian or a Jew or an atheist. We shouldn't have hatred in our heart, okay? But there's been a creation of hatred in our hearts towards one another. And that has caused issues. In Iraq, for those of you Iraqis, they used to marry Shia Sunnis. That was normal. It was like, well, so what? Some people think, what is Shia, what is Sunni, okay? But because of the divide and conquer techniques now that they've taught us, They've made us hate each other. And so marriages have become more complicated and between the two. Yeah.
Ahsan, and the question about, I'll bundle these two. So you told us to look into family and to see if someone is trustworthy or not, for example. Somebody asks here, for example, if it's somebody from, if it's a revert, so that's one part of the question. And the second question, if somebody is from like another community or from a different country, moves here, so it's difficult for me to investigate this history. Do you have advice in that case, in the case of a revert and somebody from another country?
Yeah, I've another activity that we're doing at Dar al-Islam, and I know you guys did it in Shahr Ramadan as well, or was it Muharram, when you did majalis reverts?
Yeah, in Ramadan.
The Ramadan, yeah. It's really good. So we're doing some activities for reverts. And unfortunately, what we have in our community is we have a lot of suspicions on reverts. I get people telling me, be cautious of the reverts. He could be a spy. You know? And I tell them, look, if they want to send us a spy, they won't send someone who's outside the community. They'll try to trick someone from within, and they say, look, here's some money, try to find more information from Ali or from someone else. Right? That'll be more logical than bringing someone that will quickly start to, say, oh, who the hell is that? That's someone who's probably a spy. So I don't really accept this argument. But and not to say there haven't been spies who are reverts, but they're very, very, very minor, and we shouldn't really judge on them. And it's really unfair to judge. There are really good people out there, reverts, who have been guided towards the religion of Islam. Now, again, I think you should deal with the revert the same as you deal with someone else. Do thorough investigations. Do find out more about his friends, where he's come from, and things like that. There's nothing special about this individual, whether it's a woman or a man. There's nothing special about them. There's nothing unique about them. They're just a human being who wants to get married. Okay? So you come and they've been, by the way, disadvantaged in communities. Even within the communities of Shia communities. They've been disadvantaged because people are saying, Reva, I'm not marrying a Reva. They come with lots of baggage and all these things. And it's unfair, it's not nice. And I really think we should open our hearts to reverts. You guys have done brilliant. Open your hearts, open your doors. We've done that at Dar al-Islam. We said, please come. And by the way, I'm a big critic of people of the school of Ahlalbait, yes, communities, because we haven't opened our doors for reverts and da'wah. Okay? Usually people who want to become Muslim go to a mosque or become Sunni, okay, and then they stay there, which is fine if they want to, but at least open the possibility of knowing about the Ahlalbait. That's all we want. Because the Ahlalbait are so special, because Ali ibn Abi Talib is superior to everyone else except the Prophet, okay? Then we want, because we know their qualities, we want to introduce their qualities to people. It's not like, don't go there. Like, we want you to know Ali ibn Abi Talib, okay? So that's why we should open our doors more. But as a community, we're just like very suspicious. Who you from, where you come from, to who, where you that, just like look at him. Chill, man. Seriously, chill. Everything is fine. I'm not saying don't be cautious, don't have security, don't have things like that. But chill. Let's not be paranoid. Okay? Open our doors, open our hearts, especially our hearts, to people from outside the community. I say this in majalis sometimes. I say, when we're in Muharram, I look at the crowd and I say, where are the non-Muslims? Yeah. Why are non-Muslims not attending our majalis? We speak English, okay? Why are they not attending our majalis? It's because we've closed the door. So only our people. Bil'akis, this is the opposite. It should be a space for them to get to know Ahlul Bayt, to get to know Imam Hussein salamullah alayhi. A very good question. You should have someone, yes. So that's a very good. You should have like a mentor. When Quran says it not exactly like this, but it says in says it like حكما من أهله وحكما من أهلها. If there's a dispute, bring someone from her family and someone from your family. It's a bit like saying, look, you know, someone who's wise, حكما, hakim, wise, someone who's wise, right? So bring someone who's wise to try and really find out what's going on. So I think that's a very brilliant point that you've mentioned. I think someone has to come in as someone who advises you, and at times of dispute, someone who you trust, and someone who knows to keep things confidential, which some of us are not very good at by gossiping and things like that. But confidentiality is very important. So for example, you call him and say something, both of you, not you call him in secret and say, look, you know, she's been doing this. Well, what should I do? No, but both of you sit down or bring him in, or her actually, and say, look, this is a dispute we're having, can you advise us? You know, I think that's a brilliant idea, it really is.
You invest a lot of time in your studies and career, then you have not a lot of time maybe to find someone. What's your advice? And somebody is asking the question like, friends and family have been encouraging her or him to get to know someone through social media. So I want to combine this question. Is that an option for someone who doesn't have, like, who studies and works, who doesn't have a lot of time to search for someone? Or do you have other advices in that case?
Yeah. Can I see a show of hands from both? Who is pro dating apps? 1, 2. Brothers?
No.
Ah, come on. Liars.
They don't dare.
As if you haven't opened a dating app. So let me ask the question again. A good app, how many people pro? It doesn't really change things.
Doubled.
It doubled from 1 to 2. Okay. Okay, so you guys, okay, right. So we got like a few. You know, I read a study about this, and they said that actually the youth are disengaging much with dating apps now, because it's they called it's choice overload. It's a system of choice overload. That you've got, you know, you're just like, choice, oh my God, I was so many choices, I don't know what to do, you know, and it's a choice overload, okay? And they started to disengage with that. But let me see a show of hands again. How many people, if, for example, if hypothetically speaking, right, Sayyid Muhsin and the team will develop an app specifically for the Shias in Holland, okay, single Shias in Holland, specifically for that, for an app that people can engage with, but it's very encrypted, it's regulated by a respected scholar, but you have the choice of choosing someone.
Without photos, right?
I don't know photos or not, I don't want to go into details. Show of hands, how many people are supportive of that?
That's more than doubled again, 5 doubled.
Oh, that's majority of people.
Alhamdulillah.
A project for you guys.
The trust in us.
Yeah. So the reason why I ask that is I think it's about trust, isn't it? Because you can see the difference. Because like Match.com, or there is Muzmatch, or there is Madrashino Match, right? I guess people are, especially the sisters, maybe they don't really trust where this is going, who's going to see it. But if it's within the community itself, then I guess people will trust it. Yeah. So that's an encouraging thing. One final thing I want to say is about social media. I think social media can be used positively for matchmaking. The only thing is that it can also be abused. Yeah. So unfortunately, we've had some of the brothers, asking for temporary mut'a, things that we have some sisters report that certain private DMs are being sent and stuff. But there's also the sisters' faults for opening public profiles and having friends that are men, and probably that's also a contributing factor. And social media, by the way, is a fascinating topic that we can talk about in terms of spouse selection, because You know, in Toronto we talked about this, where, you know, a bit like this, we had the boys and the girls, and we were talking about social media in terms of spouse selection. And it's fascinating to hear that, you know, should a girl open her account, Instagram, say, for example, account, publicly, so that people see her and see what she posts and what she might say something about her, okay? Or no, make it closed so she knows who's... Okay, let me do that again. So who from the sisters say it's okay for you to have an open Instagram account? Yeah, okay, so that you don't feel lonely, not engaged. How many of you feel like you should have a closed account? An open account? Seems like you don't care. I mean, we just wasted 20 seconds of our valuable time. All right. So it just seems that, look, the idea of opening an account is because there are weird people out there. Okay. So you've just got to be very, very careful. You know, I know my wife has had a few proposals, which is a bit worrying. But anyway, but you know, that's, you know, she has an open account, which I'm absolutely fine with. But there are people who just like, Salaam alaikum, sister. You think, why the hell are you telling her Salaam alaikum? What do you want? Yeah. I don't know if that's his tone. But the way I read it was Assalamu alaikum, sister. So anyway, yeah. I'm actually, you said it's okay on WhatsApp. I'm actually against, when you're trying to get to know each other, I'm actually against you guys talking on WhatsApp. The reason is because WhatsApp, you're very comfortable saying things behind the screen. And then the way you say it might not be expressed in the best possible way, okay? So leave WhatsApp. In fact, I think don't share phone numbers until you guys both have decided, yeah, let's go, we get married. That's my view, okay? Because, and even in social media, DMs, leave phones and technology. Have physical meetings. Increase in physical meetings. Get to know one another.
So some families only agree when a man finishes his study and has a lot of money, then they're going to accept him. Some families, they just don't like him for no reason, for example. So there are a lot of questions about family. So how can we deal with, it's my life, my partner, I want to make my choice, and I have to respect my family and their opinion. And also the question just came in right now, what's the best step to approach your parents and tell them you have someone who's interested? So both sides, families, everything about family.
Yeah. Okay, so let's tackle the first part, which is the part of when you want to go and get married, but you got to convince your own family, parents. Now this usually happens when so there's usually two instances. One, if you are quite young, so you know your parents say, "Oh, you're too young." And another instance is when you are convinced of this person, but your parents are saying, "Nah, he's not. He or she are not." So to look at this from the first point about young, Islam actually encourages young marriages, because you want to make sure that you follow the sunnah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and complete your deen by getting married early. Now some of the parents will think how financially and things like that, but I had a discussion in the break with some of the brothers that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Holy Quran, He says, وَأَنْكِحُوا الْأَيَامَ مِنْكُمْ وَالصَّالِحِينَ مِنْ عِبَادِكُمْ وَإِمَائِكُمْ إِن يَكُونُوا فُقَرَاء يُغْنِهُمُ اللَّهُ مِنْ فَضْلِهِ. Okay, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, do nikah, or those singles amongst you, yes? And then He talks about, you know, these widowers and, you know, but then He goes and says, if they were poor, it's a guarantee from God that he will give them. إِن يَكُونُوا فُقَرَاء يُغْنِهُمُ اللَّهُ مِنْ فَضْلِهِ, from his blessings. Okay? So don't worry about if he doesn't have it. The only thing you should look for are red flags. So one of the red flags is that he's lazy. He's someone who just wants to play around or whatever and things like that. But if you're confident about all these things, he doesn't really need. If he's doing a degree, okay, then it's fine, because you can try and make sure that he continues his degree and he's going to get a job. Usually they do get a job, okay. So I think early marriages is important. You can have that period of time where they just do aqd, so they do the nikah without actually living with each other, okay? So it takes maybe 2 years, 3 years, although don't prolong it because problems will arise. And then you can have your wedding whenever he has his job, whenever he's, things like that. So I think in terms of early marriages, that's my view. In terms of you want, but your parents don't want. Now, you can go and get married to him without your parents' permission, okay?
As a man, right?
Yeah, as a man, but also there is a view for women. If he is, of course, a mu'min, if he's a Muslim, and the conditions are set, but your parents, for the woman, your parents are giving unjustifiable reasons, then it's okay for you to go against your parents. So, for example, they're racist. And by the way, I get this quite a bit. So I'm getting an interesting question that hasn't come about, or which usually comes out, is what about intra-cultural marriages? So Iraqi marrying a Pakistani, Iranian marrying a Afghani, intercultural marriages, okay? And so the parents come and say, well, you're only marrying an Iraqi, okay? But if like a good Sudanese guy comes and you really like him and say, this guy's black, that's racist, okay? Rasul didn't come and say, look, if you're gonna make sure that his color is harder. No, that's racist. It's clear racism. And by the way, we have racism in our communities. We have proper racism, okay? Like proper racism. And it's against completely the teachings of Islam and the Ahlalbait salamullah alayhi. And especially in some parents, you'll never marry a black guy, or you never marry a Pakistani, or you never marry an Iraqi, or you'll never marry a Hindu, or Indian, or you never marry. So this is the idea that if your parents are giving unjustifiable reasons Islamically, then you can go and get married. As a woman, you can go and get married to him if he's a mu'min, if he's other things like that. If the boxes are ticked, fine. But if they're giving justifiable reasons, then you should really listen to those. Now, it's very, very hard to go against your parents, generally speaking. It's really, really difficult to go against your parents. Because, so I had a case back in London, an Iraqi boy, really good boy, I know him. Okay, he came and he said, look, I found this Pakistani girl in my work, and I really like her, and my mom has come, she's now accepted this. My dad is saying, I will not attend your wedding. Wait, قال بالعراقي, he said, شيلها من بالك, something like that.
Get it out of your head.
Get it out of your head. Do you want to translate it to Dutch?
حالة ما رجعت.
حالة ما ترجعت. زين? You can laugh at me, it's okay. Laugh at my accent, that's fine, I'm not offended.
Racist.
Yeah. So therefore, what happened in this particular case is last time I saw him, he's still battling this case. Okay? His father's saying, no way. You're marrying an Iraqi, khalas. Maybe a Lebanese, okay, Arab. You're not marrying a Pakistani girl, okay? And so that's an unacceptable reason, okay? Now we can advise and say, look, it's probably adds another layer of complication, in terms of language, in terms of culture and things like that. It's better if you don't do, but I'll still support you if you were to go ahead and marry him or marry her. But actually banning them and threatening them, that's not good. But if you are facing with such a situation, then you can go against your other. But I will say this is my personal advice. And they've come to me and they said, what's your advice? I will say, do not go against your parents' advice. Even if your parents say, they threaten you and they say, we'll never be with you, we'll never come with you. There's plenty of fish out there in the sea. Okay? Fish could be males as well, by the way. It's just, why are you getting offended for? So there's plenty of fish in the sea. Okay? And so it's fine if you know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bring you someone else. Yeah? But you can't replace your parents. And it's difficult to go against your parents. You know, it's ta'atul walidain is really important. Even if Islam says if it's unjustifiable reasons that your parents are giving, then it's okay for you to go on. But we've seen cases where people have gone against their parents and they've gone to get married, and then maybe later on they'll come around their parents, they'll come around but my humble advice on this is don't go against your parents. Okay? So that's from that side. The other side is the issue of, what's the other side? The in-laws?
Yeah, the in-laws.
In-laws, yeah. So in-laws are a big issue. In-laws are a big issue. Yeah. So a lot of people have beef with their in-laws because they don't serve chicken.
Oh, that one they get.
One person got it.
Yeah.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. You saved me. So the idea of in-laws is a very difficult one. Now, you've got to measure this. You've got to say, look, I am so convinced about this person that I want to marry, but his family I just don't get on with. You've got to measure it, whether, you know, those parents, or usually it's the mother of the person you're getting married to, if she is going to create problems or not. Now, usually they create problems within the first few years, and then they get bored of creating problems. Okay, they'll go, it's not really working here. Yallah, it's fine. Okay, so that's usually the case. I know cases where after the aqd, they've done the aqd, then the mother-in-law of the girl, for example, she comes and says, you know, why do you come and bring us this hadiyah? And then she tries and throws a few hints like, you know, we want this in our wedding and we want that in our wedding, but then they agreed beforehand that they don't want all these extravagance. And then she starts to bully more and more and more. I know a particular case that at the end they divorced, okay? Because of the mother-in-law, her mother. And then the girl, she's like, I'm going to stick with my mother here because she's my mother, bad, you know? And so, you know, the mother-in-laws can destroy her. So you've got to really try to measure this and see whether it's difficult. It's very difficult. And by the way, this temporary marriage for 1 year, you will find out, as we said, about the mother-in-law. You know, how is she? What's her state? Is she like a real shisma, or like she's very kind and she's okay and she moves on, you know, with things, and she's supportive and things like that. So I think it's a critical issue. You've got to try your best to find out. Ask previous marriages. Maybe if she has a sister, if the brother is marrying someone and his mother-in-law, maybe your wife's sister is married already, so go and ask her husband, because how is her interaction with the mother-in-law, because his interaction with his mother-in-law, to see is she really difficult. So ask around, research around, and try to find out in that particular case. Yeah.
Thank you so much. It's exactly prayer time. Today we would really like to thank you, also in advance for tomorrow. I think after 2 hours and we can say that this topic never ends. Yani, there's so many questions and so many more that we didn't discuss. So inshallah we'll discuss tomorrow in the workshops. We want to thank you with just a small, like a
Oh, mashallah.
certificate of appreciation.
MashaAllah.
Also in advance for the workshops tomorrow. So thank you a lot.
Ahsant, barakallah.